gentlemen, you are listening to Blue Please right here on CynicalBrit.com with myself, Total Biscuit. Yes. Like I say, rescheduled and indeed entirely my fault for not properly telling people about it, but hey, there you go. By the way, we're not using the Tiny Chat today because it's mega laggy, so I would strongly suggest that you head on over to the IRC chat. There are a couple of options as to how to get there. You can use the on-site chat, which is in the top menu. Alternatively, you can just put the irc.quakenet.org #CynicalBrit into your favourite IRC program. That's the way to do things. Okay. So, someone pointed me in the direction of something I really, really like the look of. Indeed, this just popped up just before the show. I love 11th hour content, it's great. Alright, so this is called What Wrath Players Need to Not Suck at Kata. I'm going to go through this and see if I actually agree with it. This thread you can indeed read along with if you so desire. I've popped it into the Cynical Brit IRC chat room. You can see that. Alternatively, if you are listening to the podcast, this will be posted on the show notes, which are on cynicalbrit.com, and I'd recommend that you read those every time anyway. Now, this one is by a man called Data. No, not that kind of Data. He's not a sentient android as much as you might desire. With rather sickly yellow skin. It's like that guy had permanent jaundice. Either that or he played way too many video games with the blinds closed. Whatever the case. Data's pretentious how to better yourself after learning to play in Wrath. Both incoming, dare you read it and take its words to heart, or dare ye troll instead? One will fill me with warm joy and hope for the future, and other will simply amuse me, so let's get cracking. Release the Kraken. Anyway, so this guy's apparently been a regular WoW player in Raiders since Classic. He's tanked, healed, melee, ranged, and everything. And he has 11 out of 12 hard mode experience, and he is indeed a Cataclysm beta tester. He plays a Hunter, Death Knight DPS, Druid tank and DPS, Paladin healer and DPS, Shaman healer and DPS, and evidently has way too much time on his hands. But the question is, will his information be useful? We will find out, shall we? Okay. So, firstly, this one goes out to everybody. These are handy. Some of these might seem blindingly obvious to people, but I wonder how many of these have actually been ignored. I want to see, and I'm going to compare and contrast this to the experiences that I've had in Wrath with pubs and things like that, and pugs, as to what they miss, what they don't do, and things like that. Right. Firstly, everyone, be mindful of your positioning. Do the mobs have knockback? Will you get thrown into other mobs? Is the tank facing the mob away from the group in case it has a conal effect or a cleave? When trying to dodge the fire on the ground, are you running towards another group of mobs? These are things that you will need to be more mindful of in Kata. Extra pulse cannon will likely mean wipes, and any damage that can be avoided will make your healer's life much easier and make their mana last much longer. Indeed, this is actually very important, because healer mana is a massive, massive issue. You can't simply sit there for ages, absolutely ages, ladies and gentlemen, and just eat adds and eat damage and things like that, expecting the healer to have an infinite pool of mana. That's simply not the case. He doesn't. Indeed, his big heals, or indeed his rapid heals to save you from dying, will drain the crap out of his mana. I was doing some interesting comparisons, actually. I was looking at what my new Shaman has, or indeed my old Shaman. Got Healing Surge and Healing Wave. I can't remember which is which, but one of them is like 1.5 second cast. That is a big heal, but it costs 3 times the normal mana. And the other one is kind of rubbish, but is a very slow sort of heal. But it's interesting to see that in action, and indeed I saw it affecting us a great deal in the Cataclysm beta. It was hammering us into the ground, actually, on multiple occasions. It was problematic for everybody. So yeah, you're damn right you need to pay attention to that. Like I say, it seems obvious, but positioning is vitally important. It's like saying, oh, well, you can't predict where fire's going to be. Well, yes, that's true, but you can put yourself in a position where if fire does appear, you will minimize the damage that you end up doing not only to yourself, but to the rest of the raid if you do something incredibly stupid. Like, I'm going to run away from the fire. Oh, yeah, the boss has also got an ability that might have a direct damage effect with an AoE explosion. I just ran right into one of my friends because my positioning was awful. Now, you'll be surprised how many times you see that happen on a wide variety of different frickin' encounters. Indeed, when I had the misfortune of pugging back before all of the nerfs happened to ICC, I ended up doing a pug for, what was he? Yeah, Deathbringer Sourfang. And the amount of people that was like, oh, I'm gonna run right into this, I'm running away from the things, and I'm gonna, you know, those nasty little flare things that come on the floor, those hell beasts, and I'm gonna run away from it. Oh, I'm gonna run right into someone else. Oh, look, he just did the AoE Blood Boil effect thing and did massive damage and got a bunch of stacks on his bar. Why? Because I'm an idiot and I have no idea what positioning's all about. Yeah, sad. So much more important now. Even if it did affect fights like Deathbringer Sourfang, it's just way more important now, and yes, you do indeed need to pay attention to it. And also, something that seems blindly obvious, if you get aggro, run the offending mob to the tank, not away from him. Yeah, you'd be surprised how many people don't do that. This next point, communicate with your group. It doesn't matter if you've never seen these people before in your life. Ask who should CC. Ask the tank to pop his cooldowns because you know you have trouble healing the pole. Ask if you have questions about another encounter. But that might involve talking to people. I don't like it. Oh, please. It's a social game. It's a massively multiplayer, multiplayer online role-playing game. That means the role that you play is with others. And if you are not, in fact, talking to your group, you are a liability. There is a reason that I do not do groups with people I am not on Vent with. It's not to say that Vent is the only way to do it, but it's certainly a very significant one, a very useful one, and usually it is the best. Vent, Mumble, TeamSpeak, whatever the hell you damn well please. Just use it. For God's sake, use it. Now, what else do we have? He goes on to say, take and give constructive criticism. This won't work. It's totally true, but there's no way it's going to work. Because everything is a personal attack. Absolutely everything. If you say anything at all about anyone's playstyle, or indeed their opinions or anything like it, is taken as a personal attack, and you want to know why? Well, there's two reasons. One, because there are people with extremely fragile egos that absolutely cannot accept when they're doing things wrong. But secondly, and this is fairly vital as well, something that you definitely should be paying attention to, the Bleeding Hearts made it this way. It's true. Is the Bleeding Hearts think that you are so special, everyone is a unique and beautiful snowflake, completely up above and immune to criticism. Because criticism is mean! No, it isn't. It's vital, indeed, to every walk of life. Consider it for a second. If you do not criticize, say you are a teacher, and you don't criticize somebody's bad work, how will they learn that it's bad? It doesn't necessarily mean you've got to call them a complete and total twat, but that's what criticism is. You don't understand. Criticism does not mean insult. It's not the same thing. Never has been. But bear in mind, of course, ladies and gentlemen, bear in mind that criticism can either be constructive or it can be unconstructive. And unconstructive criticism is effectively useless because that tends to be highly confrontational, and yes, often it is just an insult. You know, if I say your tanking sucks, that is criticism, but it is useless criticism because I have not provided a way for them to improve said tanking. I mean, consider it for a second. As cynical as I may be, I don't believe that people deliberately try to be awful. In fact, because of people's egos, they want to be good. They want to be good at the game because they want this imaginary e-respect and stuff like that. They want to be the very best. They want to be an absolute baller at the game. But they don't have the capability. Usually, the reason that they don't have the capability is because nobody's told them any better. And if you just keep criticizing them and say, oh, you suck, it doesn't work, you know? Generally speaking, it drives people into a mindset where they become even more closed off to any degree of suggestion, no matter how useful it happens to be. Now, a lot of the time, you can justify that because you don't have to teach people how to play the game all the time. In fact, you shouldn't ever actually be expected to do that. But if you think there is an easy fix, it's like, you know, if you did this way, it would be much better, then it would make your pug experiences an awful lot better. That said, of course, you shouldn't really be in a pug anyway. And constructive criticism should absolutely be part of guild experiences. There's no doubt about that. This is why you have officers to turn around and say, "Oi, you are not performing up to the standards that we desire and demand. So, we will help you get better, but you have to be willing to listen." Yeah, like I say, the Bleeding Hearts are just the anathema of everything that is good and progressive within WoW, and indeed in the world, actually. I will go as far as to say that. Am I going to get, I'm going to get a little bit political, because it's the Bleeding Hearts that cause all sorts of nonsense. You know, it just sort of sprang up to me the other day, and I was thinking about it because I noticed a post on Reddit about this, and it was about sort of like National Go Topless Days and stuff like that, basically fighting for the right to women to bare their breasts in public, just, you know, in the same way that men can go around with a shirt off, etc., etc. And I was thinking about it for a moment, and I just couldn't actually think of a single good reason not to, you know? I mean, seriously. By the way, if you're still on Tiny Chat, you are a massive tard. Get off Tiny Chat. We're not on Tiny Chat. God. Absolutely stupid. Like I say, it's Bleeding Hearts that caused that to happen. It's like, hey, think of the children, blah, blah. It's totally illogical. Children see, freaking toddlers, and obviously before that, babies, more to the point, see breasts. It's an entirely natural thing. But, you might wonder, why am I talking about that? It's because it is an analogy, and indeed it is relevant for that, you know? It's completely relevant. It's the same kind of behavior. It's pervasive throughout all walks of life and in many, many different things. Right. What else do we have in this particular thing? I shall have a look. I've lost my post. There we go. Right. Yes. Keep your group's best interests in mind. Pay attention to what is happening to your group members. Is a mob running for your healer or clothies? Root it, slow it down, stun it. Did you get an extra ad? Try and help them out. Yes. It's like, don't just get this stupid-ass tunnel vision. Yeah, that is what's happening an awful lot. It's amazingly retarded tunnel vision. I must dips the target. I must dips the target. I must keep hitting it and dips the target. It is actually what people do. They come and end up being completely and utterly fixated on the thing with the skull on its head, and become oblivious to everything else. You thought the FOV in Modern Warfare 2 was bad? The FOV of your average pugger WoW player is even worse. They've got an FOV of about 10 degrees, this field of view at 10 degrees, and solely the only thing in it is that mob, and they're blinking to everything else. It's pretty bad. Ugh. Be patient. This is all new content. Your group is in leveling gear, not top-tier epics. The fights are generally not easy. You have new mechanics to learn. Well, this I don't really necessarily agree with, because you should be doing this in guilds anyway. Like, in pugs, yeah, people are going to rage out about a bunch of stuff like that. But you should be in a guild. Why would you not be in a guild? There's no reason. There is literally no reason not to be in a guild. And don't give me this nonsense about, I don't have time. It's like, you know how many casual guilds there are? Hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands? There are so many available. So many. So the patience really should be a non-issue, because guild groups will be able to work through that content anyway. And what else? Be observant. Check out new buffs, debuffs, etc. Yeah, you can't really not do that. And of course, consumables. Yes, that's right. Health potions, mana potions, potions of speed. But mostly health and mana. Have them. Use them liberally if you have access to them. Mana potions in particular give healers the extra mileage they need in a tough fight. And just bear in mind, folks. Just bear in mind that a lot of people just don't want to invest because they're tight-ass, stingy, Scotsmen. Wait, not Scotsmen. Yes, WoW players. Sorry, it's an easy mistake to make. They don't want to spend any money, especially if they're in a pug. It's like asking people to flask in a pug, for instance. You'll get flamed out of the group. Why don't you use a boat? It's like, oh, I died. Why did I die? It's like, well, you know, you could have saved yourself there with a potion, right? But it costs money! Oh, please. Anyway, I don't need to really go through the rest of it. There's obviously tank stuff specifically in... But, yeah, it's pretty accurate, honestly. Pretty damn accurate. My name is Total Biscuit. You're listening to Blue Please here on CynicalBrit.com. I will be back right after this break with another user-submitted topic. And in the meantime, I think I shall play some Enter Fire Emblem. It goes by the name of Sword Chant. Enjoy.